Hi. So, I'm excited to play with pencil. Let's do this. I'm gonna first take this down a notch. So, all right. Hey, what's up? I am so excited to work with pencil today because it was a really gray day out there. It was foggy and gray, and everything looked like a grayscale drawing. And that's what pencil is, basically. When you're just working with pencil, you're making it in grayscale. So I invite you to come to this table, whatever table you're sitting at, with just a plan to play. Come to the table as a kid, just like when you were 4 or 5, before you got the creative genius beaten out of you to death. And you would just play, and you would just screw around with stuff because it felt good. And you would use all your senses. Not necessarily worrying so much about the end product, or at least what other people would think about it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to play around. So with pencil, here are some tools that you would use. There's basically like 4 tools with pencil. Obviously, first tool, pencil. You need the pencil, the basic tool. Also, our good friend the eraser. And there's lots of different erasers. I'm going to get into that. Erasers can be really fun. A lot of erasers. And then I have these things called smudge sticks. They are basically just really tightly wrapped paper. And you use them to make smudges, and we'll use them too. I'll show you how they work. And lastly, sharpener, because you can get so much variation out of a pencil just depending on how much it's sharpened. So that's kind of cool. So this is a really good tool too to always have with you. Those are our tools. The next thing I want to talk about is paper. So paper can be anything. Like, it's pencil. You can use printer paper. You can use any kind of paper. It takes anything. The biggest difference, I would say, is like the heavier. You can go with different heavy weights of paper, and the heavier the paper, the more of a beating it can take. And you could really do some cool stuff with erasing and like making heavy, more physical marks. So that can be a benefit. Also, I'm going to show you how to paint with pencil, because you can actually do that. And in that case, you would use like a mixed media paper. So yeah, paper. And then I want to talk a little bit about the H to the bizzo. H to the bizzo. Pencil is the bizzo. That's my song. So I'm not sure if you have been to the art store or fancy stores where they have different types of pencils with no erasers. And that just is what makes them fancy, because they have no erasers. So they're officially fancy. But they have different letters. They have H's or they have B's on them. And that's just basically telling you how hard or soft the pencil is. So, for example, if you were to take, well, first in the middle is HB. So right in the middle is HB. And then over here is H. And then over here is B. So between here are different numbers. So basically you can get like a, I don't know if you, this is funny because I'm writing upside down, so I don't know really what I'm writing, but okay, I'm going to write this way actually, so that I can, I'll just show you. So you can do, so it goes from this way out, the numbers. So the higher the number on this side, the softer the pencil. The higher the number on this side, the harder the pencil. So you can get like a 2H, or you can get like a 4H, or you can get like a 6H, and you can even go more. There's like 10 H's out there. I got one recently. It's crazy. I don't know if I'll ever use it. And then there's, if over here, you can go, there's 2B, there's 4B, 6B. And so basically, like, the difference is it just gets softer. So like here I have, for example, this is a 6B, and the mark that I'm making, it's like, you can see it's kind of like a thicker line and it's got texture to it. Whereas if I take a 6H, which is super hard, the line is like very thin and there's not a lot of texture to it because it's so thin. I mean, there is probably if you like zoomed in, but yeah. So basically, like, it gets lighter. It's just a totally different mark. B to the H, H to the bizzo. What's really cool about that, there's a lot of cool things, but basically, like, you can get like a whole range of marks using the different pencils. But I have a secret for you. This is the secret that the art store doesn't want you to know. And that is that HB, where's my HB? HB is just the same exact thing as your regular old number 2 pencil. It's the same thing. And it's right in the middle. It's right in the middle between the H and the B. So you can really get like really like hard marks if you want, and really soft marks just from this one pencil. And that's super cool because it makes pencil really accessible. You don't really need much. Almost everybody has a pencil and probably a piece of paper in their house. So super low barrier to entry. You just pick it up and just screw around with it. So that's the secret about the HB. And now I'm going to show you a little bit about shading. So with this live video going on, I can't really see like what you can see exactly, but I'm thinking you can see this. Can you see this? I think you can see this. I'm going to show you basically like a little bit about how to shade, like how you would shade with the H, how you would shade with the B. If you took, I'm going to start with just like the regular, this is like a 2B pencil, and I'm making a sphere-ish sort of shape. And so to shade, I'm just going back and forth. Obviously there's like no right or wrong way to do this at all, but this is just what I'm doing to show you an example of something, like to compare the 2 pencils. So I've made like this medium tone all around the circle, and then I'm coming back in to make it look darker around the edge. And I'm just kind of able to make this like continuous movement to make this the different ranges of grays. And then with if I take a 2H to do that, so right away you can see the line, it's like, it's more precise, I guess, looking. But if I was to do that same thing, it works, but I'm getting like I'm not covering as much as quickly. So one method that works with this really well is to do what the old artists call hatch marks. So you're making lines this way, and then you come back and you cross over them, like making little X's over and over. And you just would keep doing that. And then in the places that I want to get darker, I just keep going back and forth, making more and more X's. So it's kind of like a different way of using the harder and soft pencils, but you can mix and match. There's no rules. There's no rules in art. Don't let anybody tell you don't ever let anyone tell you there's rules in art. There's no rules in art. You could come back in with a B, anything. Like here's a 6B. You know, you can play around and have the different pencils in there. So it's a little bit about shading with the pencil, and then I'm going to show you how we use these blending stumps that I talked about. I'm going to show you those, and then I'll show you the magic of the eraser, And then I'm gonna show you how to paint with pencil, because you can do that. And that's it. And then, I don't know, maybe we'll chat for a little bit. So these blending stumps, they're called. I have them in different sizes. What you can do is you come back into like a pencil area where there's a lot of graphite down, and these guys just smooth it out. So you can also use your finger. That's like, sometimes you just get into it and that's what's gonna happen, and that's cool. These kind of take away the need for the finger. It keeps your fingers clean. And then they have all this graphite on them, so look, then you can kind of draw with them too. So like, all right, now we're gonna get into the eraser. Because look, over here, I feel like this is starting to look flat. So we all know our friendly, this is like 50-cent eraser. These guys work great. And this is one type of eraser. This is another type of like art supply store drafting eraser. It's a little softer. It's a little higher quality. But I mean, you can use either one. Here is a fun eraser. Actually, I have two really fun. This is exciting. I have two fun erasers to show you. Okay, fun eraser number one is, it's called a kneaded eraser, and it's like a gummy-ish type of eraser. It feels like putty, like the putty that you use to stick drawings up on the wall and stuff. These are cool. They're squishy, and you can put them in you can make any shape with them that you want. So that you can really get some cool effects depending what you're looking to do. Okay, and then my second fun eraser, it's not a pencil. It looks like a pencil, but it's an eraser. That's right, friends. The tip is an eraser, and you can sharpen it. It's super cool. I got this at Curio, by the way. P.S. Plug for Curio. One of the best treasures of Lancaster City. Hidden little, beautifully curated art supply store. All right, so here we go with the eraser. Everybody knows the eraser, what we learn in school after we get our creative geniuses beaten out of us when we're about 5 or 6, and then we go into school systems. We learn to erase our mistakes, and the erasers can erase our mistakes. So yeah, we all know how to do that, right? Like, let's say I don't want this here. Okay, I'm gonna erase that. But I can also use the eraser as a drawing tool. So I can come back in, and like areas that I want to lighten up, I come back in with the eraser, and it's almost like I'm drawing. It's almost like I'm drawing with light gray, or I'm drawing with white. Also super cool is you can do something like this. Let me see if you can see my paper. You can see it. So let's say you made, because we're gonna play, this is play time. So let's say you made these big marks with graphite, and you wanna come back in with the eraser. Any eraser, I'm gonna use our 50-cent friend. And you can really use it almost to draw. So see, like I'm making a line there. If we use the pencil-looking eraser, we can do all sorts of things. We can make dots. This guy isn't working that well actually right now. We can make circles. We can do all sorts of things with the eraser to come back in like a drawing tool. And then like, see that? I made this X. Maybe then I want to go back in. I like that X. So I can come back in with a pencil and draw around it. Outline that X. Maybe I want to draw around this. It's kind of endless what you can do. Make it darker over here. So that's the magic of the eraser. Now, my next tip, I dropped something. I'm gonna come back. I'm back. I'm back. The next, so I want to show you, this is my favorite. I saved to the end. So exciting. The painting with graphite situation. So this is just regular drawing paper. I could use it to put water on, but it's not going to hold up very well. So I'm going to take a piece of just kind of basic level mixed media paper. Can you hear that? That's how you know it's heavyweight paper. It's got like a little bit of a texture to it. This guy's great for watercolor, for anything that you want to add a little water to. So yeah, basically graphite, which is what pencils are made of, graphite is water soluble. Actually, a side note, I wanted to tell you a little bit something about graphite. So graphite comes from the earth. It's a material that is found in the earth. And then there's clay added to it to make the pencils that we use. And the more clay that's added to it, the harder it gets. So the more clay, you're more in the H zone. The more less clay, the more solid graphite is, you're more in the H to the bizzo, you're in the B zone there. So it's a little tip about graphite, how we find it, how we use it. All right, so you can take, so graphite really is water soluble. So you can take I'm taking this bead pencil, and I'm gonna take a brush, I'm putting in a little water over here. It's my little water container. Boop, boop. And you can see like it starts to brush off. So you can play with that. But I've got a super cool tool, another one from Curio. This guy is a water, can you read that? I don't know if you can read it. So I'm gonna read it for you. It's a water soluble graphite stick. So this guy, which I love, it's so thick, you can make these like big marks with it, is totally water soluble. So you can add water and then boom, it's like you're painting with it. And all of a sudden, you are painting with a pencil. What's so cool about it, other than a million things, is then you can erase too. Like you can do all these things that you do with a normal pencil, but you're painting with it. I love this one. I tend to lean more towards the B zone, the soft pencils. I've always loved drawing with charcoal, and it's kind of like, it has that feeling. I mean, no offense to the H pencils are good too. I use those. Also another kind of covert H pencil, hard pencil, would be just using a regular mechanical pencil. But I use those too for drawing, if I'm gonna do a watercolor painting and maybe I wanna like have an idea of what I want it to look like. So maybe I'm drawing something realistic, I'll use an H really lightly underneath. I just like the way that looks, and it's also super delicate, doesn't show up as much depending on what you're trying to do. So that's how you paint with graphite. And I'm just having fun. I encourage you to do the same thing. Just pick up a pencil. I don't know if you've got one with you right now. I hope you do. I hope you've been playing with it on paper, or in however way you want to do it. Maybe you're actually drawing with it and playing by drawing with it. And I hope that you are just seeing what marks come out. See how many different varieties of marks you can make. How soft can you make a mark? How soft, how lightly when you hold the pencil really lightly, what happens? When you press down harder, what happens? If you have a different H and a B pencil and different numbers of those, what happens when you do that with each of those? What happens when you hold the pencil on the side to make a mark, as opposed to holding it and using the tip? What happens if you get one of these guys and paint with it? And then also, what about trying to use the eraser as a drawing tool? Going in there and drawing, and then coming back with the eraser removing things as if you were drawing on top of it, and then going back in with the pencil. I encourage you to do this. I encourage you to do this if you have a minute in your day at any time. Everybody's got a pencil lying around somewhere. Even at work, you definitely have pencils. If you don't have a pencil, your neighbor's got a pencil, the receptionist has a pencil. Take 5 minutes and let yourself play. Pretend you're 5. Just sit there and fuck around with the pencil. It will really help your brain. That's all I have to say about pencil. I've said a lot. I probably could say more, but that's all I've got for today. I would love to have any questions. I would answer them if you want to give me any. And also, too, you can just hit me up over my website. Visit my website. There's how-to video in pencil to get more tips. And check out the events there. There's a lot of creative release events happening. So times where you can join with community, get together, and explore creative expression. Thank you so much for joining me. And have a wonderful, lovely rest of your evening. All right. Adios. Arrivederci. I don't know. I think arrivederci might be thank you. I don't know what it is, but goodbye. And have a wonderful rest of your evening. See ya.